Welcome to our video about regulation strategies for teenagers. We will discuss what regulation is and how we can use strategies and tools to improve self-regulation. What is self-regulation? Self-regulation is the ability to understand and manage your behavior and reaction to feelings and things happening around you. Self-regulation is the process whereby we manage emotions like frustration and excitement, how we calm down after something exciting or upsetting has happened, and how we focus on the tasks we need to do. Being regulated means that we feel comfortable and focused, and our energy and feelings line up with what we are doing. It is a calm, alert state which is just right for the task at hand. When you are feeling dysregulated, you could describe your ability to focus and energy levels as either being too low or too high to do the things you need to do. If your regulation level is too low, you may feel sleepy, bored, or low in mood and energy. And if it's too high, you may have too much energy and feel restless, overwhelmed, angry, or excited. Essentially, we can't do the things we need to do if our state of regulation doesn't match up to the task at hand. For example, if you need to work with a group on a science project, but you're feeling restless and overstimulated, you may find it hard to sit still, to join in group discussions, and you may end up clashing with your peer group because of your behavior. On the other end of things, if your regulation level is too low, you similarly may find it hard to sit up, to listen, and to participate in a group activity. There are many factors that may affect how regulated or dysregulated we feel. The pictures that accompany this slide depict some sensory and environmental factors that influence our regulation. Sensory factors. A key factor for self-regulation is how we cope with sensory information in the world around us. Sensory processing relates to how our mind and body responds to sensory information, and this impacts on how regulated we feel. For example, if you dislike loud sounds, bright lights, and light touch, you might find it difficult to go to a shopping centre at a busy time of day when noise levels are high, lights are bright, and other shoppers rush off you as they move past. Environmental factors. Similarly, the environments or places we go can either be regulating or dysregulating. This is influenced by the sensory inputs that they present for us and how these match with our own individual preferences and challenges. The light, the air quality, the noise, visuals, comfort of what we're sitting in, etc., can impact on our focus and our state of being. For example, it might be easier to do our homework in a calm, quiet room with good lighting and ventilation. It might be more difficult to get our homework done in an untidy room, which is visually distracting, where loud music plays on the radio, or where the lights are dim. Another factor is use of strategies that help us to regulate. When we participate in activities that calm our breathing, our heart rate, and mind, such as yoga, lifting weights, taking a warm bath, or going for a gentle walk on a quiet beach, we often feel more regulated. In contrast, when we participate in activities that increase our rate of respiration and our heart rate, we often feel more energized and alert. But this can also be experienced uncomfortably as feeling restless, out of control, or ill at ease. Think about your typical day. Our state of regulation fluctuates greatly throughout the day as we complete our daily tasks and activities. For example, when we wake up in the morning, we often still feel tired and sluggish as we roll out of bed to start our day. Subconsciously, we are constantly using different strategies and sensory inputs to help change how alert, focused, calm, or stimulated we are feeling. In the morning, we may turn on music on the radio, drink a glass of cold sweet orange juice, and take a shower to help wake ourselves up, increase our focus level ready for the day ahead. If you have a test looming in your first class, you may begin to feel a bit stressed or agitated on the way to school, and in turn may take some deep breaths, subconsciously fiddle with your hair, bite your nails, or remind yourself that you can do it as a strategy to help feel calmer and more relaxed and in control. The key to self regulation is being able to tune into how regulated you're feeling at any given time, and then to know a specific tool or action that works for you to either calm down or pep up as needed. Tuning into how we are feeling is the key to self regulation. If you can identify and label how you're feeling, you can begin to identify when you need to make changes to feel calmer or more relaxed or more energized, depending on what's required of you. And you can also start to map out what strategies work well for you to self regulate. For example, if you realize that you're feeling bored or daydreaming in class and can't focus on what the teacher's saying, you might decide to take a drink of water, do some stretches in your seat, play with a small fidget, or excuse yourself to take a quick bathroom break and take the opportunity to do a few jumping jacks outside the classroom to wake yourself up before going back in. The image depicted in this slide is taken from the Zones of Regulation, which is a program to support children and young people with their self-regulation. The program uses the concepts of blue, green, yellow, and red zones, where each colored zone represents different states of regulation and emotions that are linked with that zone. It can be useful to use a visual and a language that fits with different states of regulation while you're learning and building a clearer understanding of how regulated you are at different times of the day, during different activities, and in different situations. What are your sensory preferences? The next step is to identify the individual strategies that are effective for you to move between regulation states as needed. That is, to find out what activities help you to calm down or what activities help you to increase your focus and energy levels. We receive information from the world around us through our sensory systems, including touch, taste, smell, sounds, sights, movements, proprioceptive, which is heavy work, and interoceptive, internal body signals. Each person is unique and will have individual responses to different sensory inputs. For example, when it comes to sounds, some people feel focused while listening to music during study, whereas others would feel frustrated and unable to concentrate by any background noise. In relation to movement, some people seek out and need a lot of movement in their daily routine to feel regulated, such as spinning, twirling, hanging upside down, whereas others need a lot less movement to feel calm and regulated and may even be fearful of intense movement. For example, some people avoid using a swing as they don't like the feeling of having their 2 feet off the ground. It may be useful to complete a sensory preferences checklist, which you can find in our sensory resource pack, to get a greater sense of what types of sensory inputs you use to help your body to become more alert and to calm down and regulate as needed. When you've identified sensory inputs that are calming and alerting for you, you can begin to put together a toolbox or to-do list of strategies you can use in different contexts as needed to help regulate. As a starting point, this table gives an overview of sensory inputs which would typically, for a large number of people, be calming or alerting. You could use these examples, the calming ones if you are feeling stressed, or the alerting ones if you're in need of some pepping up, to get an idea of what works for you. Firstly, looking at the vestibular system or movement sense, activities that involve rotating, spinning, that increase your heart rate are typically alerting, such as fast dancing around a room, and those that involve rocking or swinging would be more calming. For the proprioceptive system, activities that engage the proprioceptive system would generally and typically be calming in nature, as they are heavy work type activities that involve pulling, pushing, and squeezing. For example, tug of war, push-ups, yoga, or climbing a rock wall. They require us to focus, calm our breathing, and engage our bigger muscle groups in a focusing manner. The tactile or touch system. Light touch, such as being tickled, is typically alerting, whereas firmer touch and deep pressure, such as having a massage, would be calming for most people. The auditory system, or our sense of hearing. High-pitched loud sounds, such as listening to a rock concert on a loud volume, are alerting for most people, whereas low-pitched, soft sounds with low tempo are often found to be calming. For our visual system, brightly lit environments with intense colours or patterns, cluttered busy spaces would often be alerting for many people, whereas spaces with soft neutral colours, softer lighting, and uncluttered space are less visually challenging and will be more calming. Other things that are calming typically would be watching fish in an aquarium, looking at a beautiful sunset, or watching a fire in a fireplace. Oral motor system relates to taste and our mouth movements. Sharp, bitter, crunchy textures and spicy and hot or cold foods are typically alerting, whereas a cup of mint tea or soft, chewy foods with blander flavours, such as a chewy bread roll, would typically be more calming. Not shown in the table is the olfactory system, i.e., the sense of smell. Strong smells, such as a heavy perfume, are typically alerting, whereas softer scents, such as a lavender scented candle or the smell of freshly baked bread, are often considered calming. Self-care is important. There are other factors that also impact on our regulation and which you need to take into consideration. Self-care is important to feel regulated. Just like the rest of your body, your brain needs a mix of nutrients to stay healthy and to function well. So a healthy, balanced diet that's good for your physical health is also good for keeping your mind healthy. Try to limit foods which are high in sugar and additives, and also try to stay hydrated. For some healthy eating tips, you can follow the link which you can find on the HSE website in this slide. Sleep is also important as it's food for the brain, and it's recommended that teenagers get a minimum of 8 to 9 hours sleep per night. Regular exercise also helps you to concentrate and to sleep and feel better. Try to incorporate 60 minutes of physical activity into your daily routine. There are lots of physical activities that you can do in your home or garden or even in your classroom. For example, wall push-ups, chair push-ups, stretching or tensing and relaxing muscles are all simple movement activities that can be done while sitting in a chair in a classroom. It's also important to take time for relaxation. Engaging in relaxation activities and activities that bring us joy and calm is an important part of feeling regulated. Some relaxation activities that many find regulating are relaxing breathing exercises. Relaxation breathing patterns seem to calm the nervous system that controls the body's involuntary functions. Controlled breathing can cause physiological changes that include lowered blood pressure and heart rate, reduced levels of stress hormones in the blood. Mindful movements, such as yoga and stretching, are activities that require us to slow down and focus on how our body is feeling, and to take time to listen to the messages our body is telling us. We need to be able to tune into bodily signals such as discomfort, hunger, and tension so that we can react accordingly. Doodling or colouring, reading a comic or a book, listening to relaxing or favourite music, or getting outdoors to enjoy fresh air are all ways that we can take time to relax. Take a break from social media. We are constantly bombarded by imagery and stories of other people's lives on our phones and on our devices. It can be quite overwhelming and overstimulating, and impact on our thoughts, our feelings, and our mood. Try to take time off from your social media throughout the day. Having a laugh. When you're in the right time and place, enjoy a good laugh. Laughter enhances your intake of oxygen-rich air, stimulates your heart, your lungs, and muscles, and increases the endorphins that are released by your brain. Consciously think it. The way we think has a great impact on how we feel. Be kind to yourself and get into the habit of speaking to yourself in a positive manner. When you find yourself thinking negative or unkind thoughts about yourself, take a minute to stop that narrative and try and reframe your thoughts in a more positive light. Meaningful mantras. A mantra is a phrase you repeat to yourself that makes you feel good, cheers you up, or motivates you. Come up with a few mantras that are meaningful to you. For example, I can do this. I can roll with it. Sometimes things make us uncomfortable, such as a loud noise or a smelly bus, but we want or need to stick it out. Tell yourself, I can roll with it. Positive statements to ourselves can lower anxiety or negative thinking while giving us motivation and encouragement. Be your own best friend. When you have a problem weighing on you or stressing you out, ask yourself, what advice would I give a good friend in this situation? And take that in as advice for yourself. Embrace mistakes. When something doesn't go as planned, remember that it's okay to make mistakes. Tell yourself, making mistakes is part of learning new things. Connection is key. Remember, if you need it, ask for help. If you are lost, confused, or frustrated with the task and struggling to feel regulated, ask for help. A problem shared is a problem halved. There are lots of people around you who are willing to help and enjoy doing so. Asking for help is actually giving a compliment to those we ask. It demonstrates to others that we value and are willing to learn from them. Connect with a friend. Reach out and connect with a friend in person when you need support or want advice, or wish to share something positive or just to connect. Be sure to ask your friend how they are doing as well. Talking about your problems can release pent-up feelings. Connecting with a close friend gives us a new perspective and a feeling of being heard. This also lets us process our feelings and thoughts. Connections with others provides us strength while also giving us someone to lean on during hard times. Coded messages. Coded messages can be a great idea if you want a subtle way to let your teacher, parent, or friend know that you'd like some help. For example, create a subtle hand signal or gesture or a word that your teachers or parents know is a code word to show what you need, such as a break or some help. Lend a hand. Thinking about others and giving them support can be just as beneficial for the giver as it can be for the receiver. When you help someone out, you help yourself out by having it feel good for you. It's a win-win. Ask someone how you can help. Maybe it's doing an extra chore or volunteering in your local community or helping around your school or neighbourhood. Finally, don't forget to connect or check in with yourself a few times a day, asking, how do I feel? What zone am I in? Do I need to regulate myself? Many thanks for watching.